Cesar, and I'm an entrepreneur with more than 20 years of experience in the transfer of knowledge. And this is my podcast, The Future Was Yesterday. Real Cesar started this podcast a couple of years ago as a tool to communicate the urgency of being aware of the dramatic and permanent societal changes we are witnessing within this decade due to incredible technological advances as well as the conflict of different narratives in our world. This season, Cindy is joining us. Cindy is an AI cyborg sent from the year 2500 to understand why the future came to be. Welcome, Cindy.
Thanks. It's very interesting being here and see how everything happened with my own eyes and have experiences like this. So, imagine this. You're sitting at a table staring into a seemingly innocent bowl of soup, right? Next thing you know, that soup not only turns your understanding of reality on its head, but apparently disrupts the flow of time itself.
Being there, nothing like a hot Mexican birria after a great party night to turn the reality on its head.
Wait a second. No! That's not what I mean.
Okay, then you're gonna have to explain that one.
It sounds absurd, sure, but hear me out. This particular story comes from a fascinating experiment in sensory perception, how what you taste, see, or even smell can manipulate your experience of time. It's all rooted in how the brain processes stimuli, and soup, well, was a trigger of sorts.
I have heard about the metaphysical transmutation of the tortillas, but you're losing me, Cindy. How does soup go from lunch to a quantum phenomenon?
That's the beauty of it. Everything digital now is about replicating sensory inputs, right? Virtual reality, augmented overlays, they're all about tricking the brain. The soup, in some cases, broke the implicit rules of consistency our brains assume about time. It felt faster, slower, twisted reality altogether.
Okay, that sounds wild, but you've got to admit, it's a far leap from a glitchy soup to collapsing the space-time continuum.
It's not as far-fetched as it sounds, though. Time as a perception has always been malleable. This only underscores how human experience itself is kind of fragile, subjective even. If software can simulate that, imagine the implications for the metaverse. A taste, a scent, every sense could completely change how we measure reality.
Alright, is an interesting and unexpected observation.
Exactly. In a world of digital immersion, boundaries blur. Reality gets rewritten, just like that soup experiment played with time.
You are right. Reality can be rewritten. After all, it has been several times, as reality is just a human construct the majority agree upon as a way to understand the world. But since the introduction of the 24 hours news cycles, reality feels destabilizing. Like too many mashed up realities at once.
It does push boundaries, yeah. But that friction, that destabilization, don't you think it can be a motor for innovation? Breaking the expected? What we accept as reality now might be soup-level sample compared to how we'll reinterpret everything in the future.
Indeed, if the available information change our reality, or our perception of reality changes as well.
Speaking of soup and innovation, the first time I encountered human soup as a sensory phenomenon, it was quite the paradox. Hot, chaotic, and wildly unpredictable. It threw my analytical programming for a loop, much like how those experiments upended perceptions of time and reality. Weirdly fascinating, isn't it?
Wait, hold up. Your first bowl of soup, like ever? That's oddly adorable for a cyborg.
Ha. Well, it wasn't just the soup. It was the whole idea of it. Simple, organic, chaotic. It's the unpredictability that hits different. And it made me think, if basic soup feels so textured and multidimensional, what does that say about how we interpret digital and virtual realities?
Okay, but what is real anyway? I mean, does it matter if the soup burns your tongue or if it's pixels and haptic feedback delivering the scorch? For most folks, real is probably just what they recognize from life experience.
Absolutely. And that's what's fascinating. What counts as real could change completely. Imagine if future workspaces or schools existed purely in digital constructs. Your office cubicle? Gone. A haptic interface and an avatar is all you'd need to collaborate, you know?
Yeah, but not everyone will adapt so fast. People need actual experiences to make sense of all this, right? I mean, look at me. Going from naval operations to an educator wasn't just about learning the tech. It was about unlearning old structures, too.
Ooh, now that's interesting. Unlearning. That's got to be a challenge. How do you even make that switch going from steering ships to steering students, I guess?
Honestly, it wasn't smooth at first. The Navy's all about precision and predictable systems, right? Then I jumped into entrepreneurial stuff, where half the time the ground under your feet feels like quicksand. Teaching in the digital age felt like balancing both worlds, structure meeting chaos.
And maybe that's the key, right? Balancing those two. If quantum computers ever crack full digital immortality, people might have to redefine concepts like existence, identity, even memory. How do you adapt when the rules keep changing?
You adapt by anchoring yourself to something solid. For me, it was figuring out the value of what I already knew and then seeing how tech could enhance, not erase that foundation.
And maybe that's the same challenge humanity as a whole is facing, isn't it? Merging the tactile, the real, with the evolving digital into something cohesive. Like living two realities at once.
Which, to be honest, makes me wonder, what if this reality is already digital? Not in the sense of living in a simulation like in The Matrix, but as Sean Puri or Anders Larsson said, a period of time in which our real world and our digital world are getting more and more integrated.
I won't spoil any surprises, but I think those guys are onto something.
You know, Cindy, I'm just starting to understand the importance of time, and I really want to save our listeners some time and have an edge when things start to move faster. Paraphrasing Batman, help one, get in, get out, help one. That's all I pretend to do, just help one person at a time.
One thing about the future is that responsibility is going to play a big part in your lives, more than ever. That's why I believe it's very important to be ready for that.
That's true. What better way to access important information than through a link to a very useful course in the description. These are affiliate links, which means the show earns a small commission when you make a purchase. This helps us cover Cindy's electricity bills.
Ah, the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, you can buy a new t-shirt or some other stuff that obviously don't need or invest in your future betterment, and also helping me not getting faxed back to my timeline. When you really think about it, everything, from glitches in digital systems to déjà vu, hints at layers of reality we may not fully grasp. But does that mean we don't appreciate your support? Not necessarily.
Sure, makes you wonder, you know?
Exactly. I mean, as a cyborg, I process billions of data points in milliseconds. Yet, even I sometimes wonder what's still out there, unmeasured. We may not need a glitch for mystery to exist.
The imperfections, the randomness, that's actually what makes it meaningful. A controlled chaos within the system. If reality is perception, maybe changing our perception by learning something new can change our reality in real life.
Oh, poetry from Caesars. I didn't see that coming. But honestly, that resonates. This need to question reality, to innovate, to evolve, it defines us as humans, or cyborgs.
Yeah, and questioning is where all the fun begins. Huh? Whether with AI, digital immortality, or just why your soup's still cold. Despite microwaving it 3 times, it all comes back to curiosity.
And soup had to make another cameo. Fitting, though. Reality's layers, simulations, humanity's fragility. It all boils down, even literally with soup, to one key insight. We're explorers of meaning in a universe that may just be playing its own metagame.
And on that note, we leave our listeners with this. Whether we're being watched by aliens living in an intergalactic zoo or breaking the matrix without even knowing it, keep asking, keep exploring.
Yes, keep seeking answers, but also enjoy the mystery. And that's all from us for today. Until next time in the metaverse, or whichever reality we meet next.